Good morning, everyone. I am delighted to welcome you all today. In this session, we will explore the basic principles of GMP, focusing on complaints and recalls. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I hold a PhD in this field. Over the course of this presentation, we will discuss the fundamental concepts that ensure quality and safety in manufacturing. We'll cover the key aspects of handling complaints and managing recalls effectively. So, let's get started and dive into these important topics. When it comes to complaints and recalls, the principle is pretty straightforward but incredibly important. All complaints, as well as any information we receive about potentially defective products, must be carefully reviewed. And I want to emphasize the word carefully here, because every detail matters. We need to follow written procedures precisely to ensure nothing is overlooked. Once we've reviewed the complaint, the next step is taking corrective action. This isn't optional, it's a crucial part of maintaining product quality and safety. Remember, every complaint is an opportunity to identify issues early and prevent potential harm. This approach ties into the overall theme of our presentation, maintaining high standards and ensuring safety at every stage. By diligently managing complaints and acting promptly, we uphold our commitment to quality and customer safety. Let's talk about the complaints and recalls process, starting with the complaints procedure. First, it's essential to assign a designated responsible person whose job is to handle any complaints that come in. This person will decide on the appropriate measures to address the issue. Sometimes, an authorized person might need to be involved. If the responsible person isn't authorized, they must advise the authorized individual of the results and the actions taken. Having sufficient support staff is crucial to ensure complaints are managed efficiently and effectively. Access to records is also fundamental, as it allows us to track issues and verify what actions have been taken. Now, all of this should be part of a written procedure, what we call a Standard Operating Procedure, or SOP. This document clearly describes the actions to be taken when a complaint arises. It also emphasizes the importance of considering whether a recall might be necessary, especially if there's a possible product defect. In essence, this structured approach helps us respond consistently and thoroughly, safeguarding both our customers and our brand. It ties directly into our overall commitment to quality and safety. Now, let's talk about complaints and recalls, focusing on the complaints procedure, which is part 3. When a complaint is received, the investigation and evaluation should lead to appropriate follow-up actions. This could include anything from additional monitoring to, in more serious cases, a recall of the product. It's essential that all decisions and measures taken during this process are thoroughly recorded. These records are then referenced in batch records, ensuring traceability and accountability. Furthermore, these records should be reviewed regularly to spot any trends or recurring issues. Trending is a crucial part of this process because it helps us identify patterns that might indicate systemic problems. By doing this, we can address root causes proactively, rather than just reacting to individual issues. Overall, this approach not only ensures we respond appropriately to complaints, but also helps us improve our processes continuously, maintaining the safety and quality of our products. When we receive a complaint, it's crucial to conduct a thorough investigation. Typically, the quality unit, such as our QC team, gets involved to ensure a detailed and systematic review. During this process, we pay special attention to whether suspect products, including potential counterfeit items, could be the cause of the issue. It's important that we fully document all aspects of the investigation, capturing every detail for future reference and analysis. If the complaint is related to a product defect, whether discovered during routine checks or suspected based on initial findings, we need to consider checking other batches. This helps us identify if the problem might be widespread or isolated. Additionally, we should pay close attention to batches that contain reprocessed products, as these might have different risk profiles. Overall, this approach ensures that we address complaints thoroughly, maintain product integrity, and uphold our quality standards across all batches. Now, let's talk about some other important actions we need to take when it comes to complaints and recalls. When we encounter serious quality issues, it's crucial to inform the competent authorities promptly. This includes situations like faulty manufacture, where the product wasn't made correctly, or product deterioration, which can compromise safety or effectiveness. If you suspect a product might be suspect, meaning it could pose risks or doesn't meet standards, that's also a reason to escalate the issue. And of course, any serious quality problems that could impact consumer safety or regulatory compliance should be reported immediately. The key takeaway here is that quick and transparent communication with the authorities is essential whenever these serious issues arise. It's not just about compliance, it's about protecting consumers and maintaining trust in our products. This step ensures that appropriate actions, like recalls, can be carried out swiftly and effectively. Let's talk about complaints and recalls, specifically how we classify defects. When a complaint is justified, it indicates that there has been a failure in the quality system. This means something didn't meet the required standards or specifications. Once we identify the defect, the company needs to respond appropriately, which might include recalling the product to protect consumers and maintain trust. Understanding what constitutes a defect is really useful here, because it helps us determine the severity and the necessary response. In some countries, a classification system has been established to categorize defects, although it's important to note that this isn't a WHO guideline. The system typically includes 3 categories: critical defects, major defects, and other defects. Critical defects are the most serious. These are issues that could pose a significant risk to health or safety. Major defects are serious but may not be immediately dangerous. They could still impact the product's performance or durability. And then there are other defects, which are less severe but still need attention. Connecting this to our overall theme, classifying defects helps us prioritize actions and ensure we handle each situation appropriately to uphold quality and safety standards. When we talk about complaints and recalls, especially regarding critical defects, we're focusing on issues that can seriously impact patient safety. These defects are life-threatening and require immediate action from the company, no matter the time of day or night. It's essential that we respond swiftly to such situations to prevent harm. Some key examples include products labeled with the wrong name or incorrect strength, which can lead to improper dosing or treatment. Counterfeit or deliberately tampered with products are also critical because they undermine trust and safety. Microbiological contamination of sterile products is another serious concern, as it can cause infections or other health complications. Overall, understanding and quickly addressing these critical defects is vital to maintaining the integrity of our products and protecting our patients. It highlights why vigilance and prompt action are at the core of our quality and safety commitments. Now, let's talk about complaints and recalls, specifically focusing on major defects. These are issues that may not be immediately life-threatening, but still pose some risk to patients. Typically, they require the batch to be recalled or the product withdrawn within a few days to ensure safety. One common example is labeling or leaflet misinformation, or even a lack of necessary information. If patients are misled or uninformed about how to use a product safely, that can represent a significant hazard. Another example involves microbial contamination in non-sterile products. While it might not cause immediate harm, it does carry some risk for patients, especially if the contamination is severe or if the product is used long-term. Lastly, non-compliance with specifications, such as issues with the active ingredient assay, is also critical. If the amount of active ingredient doesn't meet the required standards, the product's effectiveness can be compromised, which is a concern for patient safety. Connecting this to the overall theme, it's important to understand that even these major defects, which aren't always life-threatening, still demand prompt action to protect patients and uphold product quality. When we talk about complaints and recalls, it's important to understand that not all defects pose the same level of risk. Some defects are considered minor and typically don't require a full-scale recall. Instead, they might lead to a batch recall or product withdrawal, but only within a few days, because the risk to the patient remains low. For example, we might encounter issues like visible packaging or closure faults that are easy to spot. These are straightforward problems that can be addressed quickly. Another case involves contamination that might cause spoilage or dirt. Again, these are issues that don't usually threaten patient safety directly, especially if the contamination is minor or limited. The key point here is that these kinds of defects, while not ideal, are usually manageable and don't require drastic measures immediately. They're part of the overall quality control process, ensuring that the most critical safety concerns are prioritized, but also allowing us to handle minor issues efficiently to maintain product integrity and patient safety. Now, let's talk about complaints and recalls, and how root cause analysis plays a crucial role here. It's become an increasingly common practice to perform root cause analysis, or RCA, as part of investigating a complaint. The goal is to dig deep and identify the underlying reason or reasons for the failure or defect that caused the complaint. To do this effectively, we use appropriate RCA tools, which help us systematically uncover the true cause of the issue. By understanding the root cause, we're better equipped to implement the right corrective and preventive actions, or CAPA. This approach ensures that we not only fix the immediate problem, but also prevent similar issues from recurring in the future. In the context of overall quality management, RCA is a vital step that helps us improve processes and maintain high standards. So, integrating RCA into our complaint investigations really supports continuous improvement and customer satisfaction. Now, let's talk about complaints and recalls. When it comes to recalls, the key principle is that there should always be a system in place to recall products from the market quickly and effectively. This means that if we find out or even suspect that a product is defective, we need to act fast. The goal is to protect consumers and ensure safety. So, having a well-designed recall process is essential. It helps us identify the problem, notify the right parties, and remove the faulty products without delay. This principle ties back to our overall focus on quality and safety management. It's about being proactive and responsible to maintain trust and compliance in the marketplace. Now, let's take a closer look at complaints and recalls. When it comes to reasons for recalls, there are several key factors to be aware of. For instance, a customer complaint can often trigger an investigation and potentially lead to a recall if the issue is serious enough. Sometimes, GMP failures are detected after the product has already been released to the market, which also necessitates action. Ongoing stability testing can reveal problems that weren't initially apparent, prompting a recall to ensure safety and efficacy. Additionally, national authorities may request a recall if they identify concerns during inspections or review reports. Known cases of counterfeiting or tampering are critical reasons for recalls, as these compromise product integrity. Lastly, adverse reaction reporting by consumers or healthcare providers can also lead to targeted recalls to protect public health. All of these reasons highlight how vital it is to have a robust system for identifying and addressing issues promptly. This helps us maintain trust and ensures that safety remains our top priority throughout the product lifecycle. Let's take a closer look at complaints and recalls. First, what do we mean by a recall? A recall is when a company removes a product from the market. This removal can be for specific batches or even all batches of that product. Essentially, it's a way to protect consumers if there's a safety concern or quality issue. Recalls are a critical part of the overall quality management process because they help prevent potential harm. It's important to understand that a recall isn't just about fixing a problem. It's about ensuring consumer safety and maintaining trust. So, whether it's one batch or the entire product line, the goal is to get the product out of consumers' hands quickly and efficiently. This concept ties back to our overall theme of quality and safety management in the manufacturing process. Now, let's talk about the recall procedure, which is a critical part of managing complaints and ensuring product safety. First, it's essential to appoint a designated responsible person, ideally the authorized person, who will be in charge of executing and coordinating the recall process. This person's role is to make sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently. They will decide on the specific measures to be taken, whether it's a full recall or targeted action, based on the situation. Additionally, having sufficient support staff is crucial. These team members will handle all aspects of the recall, from communication to logistics, and must be prepared to respond quickly and effectively to the urgency of the situation. Remember, a well-organized recall process not only protects consumers, but also maintains the integrity of our brand. Connecting these points, having clear responsibilities and enough support ensures that when a recall is necessary, it happens swiftly and effectively, minimizing risk and safeguarding public health. Now, let's talk about how we handle complaints and recalls. A key element here is having a solid SOP for recalls. This means we need a written and authorized standard operating procedure that clearly outlines the specific actions to be taken when a recall is necessary. It's not just a document on paper. It has to be regularly reviewed and updated to stay current with evolving regulations and best practices. Another important point is our ability to operate quickly and efficiently. The SOP should enable us to reach the entire distribution chain rapidly, whether it's hospitals, pharmacies, or other points of distribution. Speed is critical to ensure patient safety and compliance. Finally, when a product is recalled, we must ensure it's stored securely and segregated from other inventory. This helps prevent any accidental distribution or misuse of recalled products, keeping everyone safe. Altogether, these measures form a crucial part of our overall quality and safety strategy, ensuring we respond effectively to any issues that may arise. Let's talk about complaints and recalls, specifically focusing on distribution records. These records are crucial because they must be accessible only to authorized persons, ensuring data security. They should include enough information to identify key details like who the wholesalers or direct customers are, as well as export locations. This helps us trace where the product has gone. Importantly, the records also need to contain batch numbers and quantities, which are vital for tracking specific lots of the product. This is especially critical when dealing with clinical tests or medical samples, where precise traceability can impact patient safety and the effectiveness of recalls. By maintaining comprehensive and accurate distribution records, we are better prepared to execute effective recalls if necessary. This helps protect public health and ensures compliance with regulatory requirements, aligning with our overall goal of maintaining product integrity and safety throughout the supply chain. Let's talk about the process of handling complaints and recalls. When a recall is initiated, it's crucial to track its progress carefully. This means informing all the competent authorities in every country where the product has been distributed. Keeping everyone in the loop helps ensure a coordinated response. Throughout the recall, we need to monitor and document how the process unfolds. This includes maintaining records of how many products are recovered versus how many were originally delivered. The final report should clearly show this reconciliation, providing a detailed account of the disposition of the product, whether it's destroyed, returned, or reworked. An important aspect of managing recalls is testing the effectiveness of our procedures regularly. Conducting mock recalls allows us to evaluate how well our plan works in practice and identify areas for improvement. This ongoing testing helps us stay prepared and ensures our recall process remains robust and efficient, ultimately protecting consumer safety and maintaining trust. Let's talk about some of the common issues related to complaints and recalls that can arise in our processes. One key problem is when there is no response to justified complaints. This can really damage trust and indicate a lack of accountability. Similarly, responding to unjustified complaints without proper evaluation can waste resources and distract from genuine issues. Another major concern is the failure to recall products when necessary, which can pose serious safety risks. We also see situations where companies fail to correct frequent complaints, suggesting underlying systemic issues that aren't being addressed. Sometimes, there are no resources allocated to properly investigate these complaints, which hampers our ability to find the root causes. Lack of support from senior management can be a significant barrier, making it difficult to implement necessary changes. And in some cases, senior management interference can complicate decision-making, leading to delays or inconsistent responses. These issues highlight how critical it is to have a robust, transparent process for handling complaints and recalls, aligned with our overall quality and safety commitments. Addressing these potential pitfalls helps us maintain trust, ensure safety, and continuously improve our operations. Now, let's discuss some common issues we might encounter with complaints and recalls, particularly in the context of possible issues. One major challenge is the lack of distribution information or batch records. Without these records, it becomes very difficult to trace the affected products and understand the scope of the problem. Another issue is not having access to the necessary records at all, which can really hinder our ability to investigate and respond effectively. We also often face difficulties in reaching out to government authorities, especially during holidays or weekends, which can delay critical decisions or actions. Additionally, there can be disagreements on how severe a defect really is. Some parties might see the issue as minor, while others consider it a major safety concern. All of these points highlight how crucial good record-keeping and clear communication are in managing complaints and recalls effectively. This ties back to the overall theme that preparedness and transparency are key to minimizing risks and ensuring product safety. For further support, please contact us. We want to ensure you have all the resources and assistance you need to succeed. If you have any questions or need additional information, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much for your attention and participation today. We appreciate your time and engagement, and we're here to help you move forward confidently.